Dave, I would love to hear a little bit about who you are, what you do, just in case there are some poor folks out there who don't know who you are yet.
These poor folks. Yeah, I'm Dave Warnock. I do a thing called Dying Out Loud. If you don't know what that is, it's me talking about death and life as an atheist. I used to be an evangelical Christian and was a pastor for many of those years. For about 36, 37 years, I lived in that world. And then about 10 years ago, I came to the conclusion that all that was not true. And for the most part after that, I just was minding my own business. I was actually an insurance agent and was living a life as a heathen, talking as a heathen. And then I got diagnosed a couple of years ago, almost 2 years exactly. February 26th of 2019, I was diagnosed with ALS, which is a terminal disease. They give you 3 to 5 years to live after you're diagnosed. And so I thought, I don't really have a lot of time. So what do I want to do with that time? And so what I began to do at that point is to go on shows like this and travel, speak at secular communities. This was all before COVID stopped the world. Mm-hmm. But I was doing a lot of traveling and speaking at Oasis and Sunday assemblies and free thought groups and was loving that. And then COVID shut all that down. But I just began to talk about the difference between my worldviews as a Christian and as an atheist when you look at a terminal disease and you're facing death and you begin to, so I called it Dying Out Loud. And it really was became more talking about living out loud and what you do with your life and making the most of your days and grabbing the moments and those kind of things. And it really became something that I never expected. It just became this thing that seemed to get a lot of attention and inspire a lot of people who maybe were going through difficult things. I've had people send me messages that tell me I've helped them deal with their fear of death and those kind of things. So it's been a wild couple of years and a very gratifying experience to get to do this sort of thing, even though I would never wish that I'd gotten ALS. The fact is, if I had not gotten ALS, I probably wouldn't be doing these sort of things. So it kind of flipped everything around in a way that I was not expecting.
Well, you're changing the world, man.
I don't know about that, but I'm just happy to know that there are people out there that somehow find some inspiration and hope in what I'm talking about. And so that means a lot to me. It really does.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for spending some of that time with us today. I'm excited to get to calls. But before we do that, I do want to give out a couple of announcements per the usual. Talk Heathen is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. That means we run on donations, your donations. If you are interested in what we do, if you want to help us to continue to support awesome people like Dave, bringing them on, giving them this platform, consider donating. And you can do that a couple of ways. If you are on YouTube, you can actually donate via this app, this platform, and we will get 100% of the proceeds there because we are a nonprofit. So we prefer that. But also you can donate via Patreon, and 2/3 of the way through the episode, we always shout out those top 5 patrons. And hey, guys, we might even throw in someone who's not a top 5 patron, just, to mix things up a little bit. And then, as always, nonprofits are on at 3 p.m., so be sure to check that show out between this and AXP. Don't need to plug AXP. Y'all know about AXP. And if we wrap up by 2:45, so if we wrap up about 15 minutes early, what we'll do is we'll hop over to the Discord and continue a conversation there. So if you're still on the line and you want to continue to talk with us, or if you've watched the show and want to ask us questions, that's a great place to meet up afterwards. It's kind of our makeshift after the show community gathering that we used to do over at the ACA building. So we really value that.